morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. We're here at the Clearwater Baha'i Center. I want to say, I want to pull someone out of the crowd and point out. Good morning, Lauren. How are you? Oh, we're so glad you're here, Aloha. And good morning to everyone out there in Facebook land. Glad that you could join us, whether you're here in real time or afterwards. You know, you stream it some other time. And good morning to everybody in Zoom.
Good morning,
To everyone in Zoom.
all the Zoom folks.
We can't see them right now, but good morning. And hi to Jeremiah and Pete. And I can't remember the other gentleman's name. Bob?
Nope.
Not Bob.
Greg.
Greg. It's just spelled differently. Hi there. Yes. How you doing, Greg? And how you doing, Daryl?
I'm good. How are you?
You doing well? I'm doing fine. Thank you so much. It's good to be here. Is it a little warm in here to you?
Not really.
Huh?
No. The most bountiful. This is a prayer by Baha.
And the new era. I know you probably, with our Facebook camera, I know you can't see it, but I still, just my reflexes, let's hold it up. But it's called Baha'u'llah and the New Era by J.E.S. Salman. How long have we been in this now, Daryl? I know I keep having to ask.
Quite a while.
Yeah. And today, we're continuing and possibly finishing the chapter on true civilization. And again, we're talking about applying spiritual principles to the development of society, true civilization. And I will say, we've come across quite a few surprises, and maybe even some things that people might frown upon who consider themselves spiritual people, and some that people might frown upon if they don't consider themselves in that way. But it's been a real interesting read, and I'm so glad that we're continuing this. And so today we're on the chapter of true civilization, and we are starting with the section on innate differences of nature. Innate differences of nature. Daryl.
In the Baha'i view, the child's nature is not like so much wax that can be molded indifferently to any shape according to the nay. Each from the first has his own God-given character and individuality which can develop to the best advantage only in a particular way, and that way in each case is unique. No two people have exactly the same capabilities and talents, And the true educator will never attempt to force two natures into the same mold. In fact, he will never attempt to force any nature into any mold. Rather, he will reverently tend to the developing powers of the young nature, encouraging and protect them, and supply that the nourishment and assistance that they need. His work is like that of a gardener tending different plants. One plant likes the bright sunshine, another the cool shade. One loves the water's edge, and another the dry knoll. One thrives best on sandy soil, and another on rich loam. Each must have its needs appropriately supplied, else its perfections can never be fully revealed. Abdul Baha says, the prophets acknowledge that education hath a great effect upon the human race, but they declare that minds and comprehensions are originally different. We see that certain children of the same age, nativity, and race, nay, from the same household, under the tutorship of the same teacher, differ in minds and comprehensions. No matter how the shell is educated or polished, it can never come to it can never become the radiant pearl. Let me back that up. No matter how the shell is educated or polished, it can never become the radiant pearl. The black stone will not become the world illuminating gem. The thorny cactus can never, by training and development, become the blessed tree. That is to say, training doth not change the essential nature of the human gem, but produceth a marvelous effect. By this effective power, all that is latent of virtues and capacities in the human reality will be revealed.
Okay, Daryl. I don't know, I kind of struggle with this. So it seems to be saying if I have a child and I want my child to, let's say, grow up to be a doctor, I want him or her to be a doctor, and so from day one, I'm going to start training them in what I believe to be the necessary proclivities that are really, really important when it comes to being a doctor. That's not. I'm trying to formulate a question here. It's in here, but won't that guarantee, or at least come close to guaranteeing, that I will finally have a doctor in my family? My child will be a doctor because I put all my efforts into molding the necessary skills that will lead this child down that path of to be a professional medical, a medical practitioner.
Well, a couple of things. One, I don't think proclivities is the right word that you want to use, because proclivities usually indicate something that is innate.
Oh.
So, something that is inborn. So,
Oh.
proclivities is not the right word. What there are, each child may have different proclivities, and the child that you may want to be a doctor, their proclivities may be towards the arts or music or something different.
Ah.
So even though you decide that you may want them to be a doctor or whatever, they may not have the innate capabilities for that to happen, because each has its own understanding. Even even as it says here, even from the same household, and with the same teacher and the same education process, each child may have different proclivities and therefore have different understandings and venture off in different directions.
Okay.
So,
I'll accept that. I just, I think about the fact that we live in a society that obviously values certain, I'll say skills
absolutely.
over others, certain positions over others. And yet, while it doesn't say this outright here, I infer, and this is coming from me, that every child that comes to us, regardless of what their apparent level of intelligence and so forth. Every child is of value, and that it's our responsibility to help that child, regardless of what may appear to be innate, its innate abilities, whether it be from the genius down to the severely handicapped, that it's still our responsibility to help that child develop into the best of whatever it can be. And some
Oh,
obviously,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
That goes without saying.
yeah, and I don't think it goes without saying. I think some people need to hear it, because there are those people who decide this is going to be the path that my child would take, and and it's not just the path of being a decent human being. It's, I'm going to choose your life path for you, and this is the way that you will go, without giving enough consideration to, what are this child's, what are the emerging, again, proclivities, and how can I best help this child become, I guess, what they make the choices to become in positive ways. What are the most positive ways that I can help guide this child, rather than be the engineer that molds them into what I want them to be, regardless if that's what they want or have the strengths to become. So this is a brief passage, but I just think it's really, really important. I think that a lot of people need to consider the fact that that no, you're not the engineer that molds your child. You're the shepherd that keeps them safe and helps them develop in the best possible way.
So we go back to the very beginning of this section that says, in the Baha'i view, the child's nature is not like so much wax that can be molded indifferently into any shape according to the will of the teacher.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Reminds me of when my dad insisted he wanted me to shoot the gun. I didn't like guns, but he made me shoot the gun. That's a whole nother story. We won't go. We won't go there. Let's continue.
Let's go on. Character training. The thing of paramount importance in education is character training. With regard to this, example is more effective than precept, and the lives and characters of the child's parents, teachers, and habitual associates are factors of the utmost importance.
Okay, I know you're just starting this. Character training is more important. What about the math, the literature, the science? Are we actually saying that character training is more important than the academics?
With regard to this, example is more effective than precept, and the lives and characters of the child's parents, teachers, and habitual associates are factors of utmost importance. So,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
the prophets of God are the great educators of mankind, and their counsels and the story of their lives should be instilled into the child's mind as soon as it is able to grasp them. Especially important are the words of the supreme teacher, Baha'u'llah, who reveals the root principles on which the civilization of the future must be built up. He says, "Teach your children what hath been revealed through the pen of glory. Instruct them in what hath descended from the heaven of the greatness and power. Let them memorize the tablets of the merciful and chant them with the most melodious voices in the halls of the Mashrakul Ajkar."
Now, I do want to point out that this is one of those sections that, because mine is a different edition, it says it a little differently, pretty much says the same thing, but I still think it's interesting. It's a little shorter. It says, "Teach your children the verses revealed from the heaven of majesty and power, so that in most melodious tones they may recite the tablets of the All-Merciful in the alcoves within the Mashriqal Ashkar," which is the houses of worship. But again, I got to go back to especially important are the words of the Supreme Teacher Baha'u'llah, who reveals the root principles on which the civilization of the future must be built. I mean, this isn't just about personal enrichment for personal gain.
No.
This is about contributing to a society, again, that will become more and more civilized as that society moves, the global society, if you will, moves into the future. The root principles on which the civilization of the future must be built up. I mean, we're getting that raw material that we are supposed to infuse into our children, again, for the building of a better civilization, that ever advancing civilization.
Absolutely. And that civilization includes, from our next section, arts, sciences, and crafts.
Arts, sciences, and crafts.
Training in arts, sciences, crafts, and useful professions is regarded as important and necessary. Baha'u'llah says, knowledge is like unto wings for the being of man, and is the ladder for ascending. To acquire knowledge is incumbent upon all, but of those sciences which may profit the people of the earth, and not such sciences as begin in mere words and end in mere words. The possessors of sciences and arts have a great right among the people of the world. Indeed, the real treasury of man is his knowledge. Knowledge is the means of honor, prosperity, joy, gladness, happiness, and exaltation. That's from the tablet of Tajaliyat.
Now, as you're reading this, I'm thinking about what we read just last week about the importance of educating women.
Absolutely.
You know, again, we mentioned this last week, but I think about the folly, and I'll call it that, of barring half of a population of a society from education without considering the ill effects that can result from that, what you are actually depriving society of. And that education, as you can see, it's not just about science. It includes the arts and crafts. All of it is important. And as you pointed out, what great indeed is the claim of scientists and craftsmen on the peoples of the world. Where is that sentence that you said, oh yeah, the knowledge of such sciences, however, should be acquired as can profit the peoples of the earth, and not those which begin with words and end with words. Yeah, I mean, you know, just kind of it's those things that are they have no real value. We can spend I probably have spent a lot of time in those types. Myself, I don't know. Anyway,
And I'm sure you have.
Later in a very deep conversation, but anyway.
That will just end with words.
Okay.
It's kind of a long section here.
Yeah,
Long segment.
but it's, again, we're talking about applying spiritual principles to the development and maintenance and the carrying forth of an advancing civilization. So some of these, I keep repeating that because some of it doesn't seem to be based on spirituality, and yet it is the application of spiritually based principles.
That's right.
And so this next section that you're about to read, I'm kind of giving you a lead into it because someone might think, what's that got to do with spirituality?
So this section begins with treatment of criminals.
Treatment of criminals.
In a talk on the right method of treating criminals, Abdu'l-Baha spoke as follows. The most essential thing is that people must be educated in such a way that they will avoid and shrink from perpetuating crimes, so that the crime itself will appear to them as the greatest chastisement, condemnation, and torment. Therefore, no crimes which require punishment will be committed. If someone oppresses injures, and wrongs another, and the wronged man retaliates, this is vengeance and is censurable. If Amru dishonors Zaid, the latter is not the right to dishonor Amru. If he does so, this is vengeance and is very reprehensible. No, rather he must return good for evil and not forgive, but also, and not only forgive, but also, if possible, be of service to his oppressor. This conduct is worthy of man, for what advantage does he gain by it? The two actions are equivalent. If one action is reprehensible, both are reprehensible. The only difference is that one was committed first, the other later. But the community has the right of defense and of self protection. Moreover, the community has no hatred nor animosity for the murderer. It imprisons or punishes him merely for the protection and security of others. It punishes him merely for the protection and security of others. Thus, when Christ said, "Whosoever shall smite thee on thy right cheek, turn to him the left one also," of teaching men not to take personal revenge. He did not mean that if a wolf should fall upon a flock of sheep and wish to destroy it, that the wolf should be encouraged to do so. No, if Christ had known that a wolf had entered the fold and was about to destroy the sheep, most certainly he would have prevented it. The constitution of the communities depends upon justice. The constitution of the communities depends upon justice. Then what Christ meant by forgiveness and pardon is not that. When nations attack you, burn your homes, plunder your goods, assault your wives, children, and relatives, and violate your honor, you should be submissive in the presence of these tyrannical foes and allow them to perform all their cruelties and oppressions. No, the words of Christ refer to the conduct of two individuals towards each other. If one assaults another, the injured one should forgive him, but the communities must protect the rights of men. One thing remains to be said. It is that the communities are day and night occupied in making penal laws and in preparing and organizing instruments and means of punishment. They build prisons, make claims, make change, I'm sorry, make chains and fetters, arrange places of exile and banishment, and different kinds of hardships and tortures, and think by these means to discipline criminals, whereas in reality they are causing destruction of morals and perversion of characters. The community, on the contrary, ought day and night to strive and endeavor with the utmost zeal and effort to accomplish the education of men, to cause them day by day to progress and to increase in science and knowledge, to acquire virtues, to gain good morals, and to avoid vices, so that crimes may not occur.
You know,
This is
as
from
you're
some answered questions.
yeah, some answered questions, and this goes back to that whole thing about character training when you get down to it. You know, I mean, we talked about the thing of paramount importance in education is character training, and then next to that, you know, we get into the whole thing about arts and crafts. But then the way we treat criminals, there are some people that have a lock them up and throw away the key
Oh,
mentality.
of course.
You know, and this particular section straight from Abdul Baha, where he is admonishing this mentality of, again, communities are day and night occupied in making penal laws and in preparing and organizing instruments and means of punishment. And then he says, on the contrary, the community ought to strive and endeavor with the utmost zeal and effort to accomplish the education of men, to cause them day by day to progress and to increase in science and knowledge. Why is that such a
We
hard?
are talking about moral education.
Yeah. But again, I just, this is one of those rhetorical questions, but I can't help wondering, why is this such a hard thing, I'll just say, to get people to wrap their brains around? That approach, that doesn't exclude the possibility of punishment, but doesn't just punish
Right.
for misdeeds, And I like the fact that also that they differentiate between individual behavior and the behavior of society for the good of society in the way that we respond to someone who has done wrong. It's one of those things that I just think about how hard it is to get a lot of people to wrap their brains around the advantages of continuing to teach and not seeing someone. I remember hearing recently, we are more than who we were on the worst day of our lives.
Right.
Yeah, and when you think of, okay, am I going to judge you by this thing that you've done, maybe on the at your worst moment? Am I going to only consider that, or am I going to consider your humanity and so forth? It's one of those things that I'm already talking too much about it, but it's one of those things that, to me, I wish people would consider and think about taking a different approach to how we respond to. I really thought about changing the song to the song about
Punishment.
justice, but I didn't. I'll just go ahead.
You could.
You think? I haven't. You think?
No.
Okay.
Let's go.
In Gleanings, Baha'u'llah writes, say, my army is my reliance on God. My people, the force of my confidence in Him. My love is my standard, and my companion, the remembrance of God, the sovereign Lord of all, the most powerful, the all-glorious. He goes on to say, let thy soul glow with the flame of this undying fire that burneth in the midmost heart of the world, in such wise that the waters of the universe shall be powerless to cool down its ardor. Make then mention of thy Lord. 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 That haply thy law. Now that we did the song, I think it was the right song because what this song is saying basically is teach the word of God. Make then mention of the Lord. I'm just going to say, I mean, think about how this starts out. Baha'u'llah is talking about, his army is his reliance on God. His people are the force of his confidence. And he goes on. But then he tells the listener, let your soul glow with the flame of this undying fire, meaning the fire of God. This undying fire that burns in the midmost heart of the world. He's talking about the Middle East at that point, that burns in and he's talking about this revelation at that time. Let thy soul glow with the flame of this undying fire that burns in the midmost heart of the world, in such wise that the waters of the universe will be powerless to cool down its ardor. I just think it's a powerful line. Okay, I know I'm belaboring it, but and
You read.
yeah, we have a very short section that will end today. That will end the readings for today. I don't know. Do you think we'll have time after this?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, of course.
We'll see. Again, spiritual principles. Guess what the next title is? Influence of the press. Influence of the press. The importance of the press as a means of diffusing knowledge and educating the people, and its power as a civilizing force, when rightly directed, are fully recognized by Baha'u'llah. I'm going to read that again. The importance of the press as a means of diffusing knowledge and educating the people, and its power as a civilizing force, when rightly directed, are fully recognized by Baha'u'llah. He writes, this last section is coming directly from Baha'u'llah, from the Tablet of Tarazat. He writes, in this day, the secrets of the earth are laid bare before the eyes of men. The pages of swiftly appearing newspapers are indeed the mirror of the world. They reflect the deeds and the pursuits of diverse peoples and kindreds. They both reflect them and they both reflect them and make them known. They are a mirror endowed with hearing, sight, and speech. This is an amazing and potent phenomenon. Let's throw in the internet while we're doing that. Because now he says, however, it behooveth the writers thereof to be purged from the promptings of evil passions and desires, and to be attired with the raiment of justice and equity. That's pretty high bar in this day and time. It behooveth the writers thereof to be purged from the promptings of evil passions and desires, and to be attired with the raiment of justice and equity. They should inquire into situations as much as possible and ascertain the facts, then set them down in writing. There's a simple journalism lesson right there. They should inquire into situations as much as possible and ascertain the facts, then set them down in writing. He concludes, concerning this wronged one, he's speaking of himself, concerning this wronged one, most of the things reported in the newspapers are devoid of truth. Fair speech and truthfulness, by reason of their lofty rank and position, are regarded as a sun shining above the horizon of knowledge. And this is again coming from Tablet of Tarazat, Tablets of Baha'u'llah.
So, because we have two different versions of the same book,
Okay.
and this particular section for me is a little different from what yours is. So let me read mine, just as a comparison.
Hmm.
Baha'u'llah writes, "In this day, the mysteries of this earth are unfolded and visible before the eyes and pages of swiftly appearing newspapers, and are indeed the mirror of the world. They display the doings and actions of the different nations. They both illustrate them and cause them to be heard. Newspapers are as a mirror endowed with hearing, sight, and speech. They are a wonderful phenomenon and a great matter. But it behooves the
Excuse me,
writers,
could you read that last sentence again?
they are a wonderful phenomenon and a great matter."
Oh, okay.
What, you had a
I thought you
problem
said
with?
grave.
No, great
Okay, great matter.
matter.
Okay.
But it behooves the writers and editors thereof to be sanctified from the prejudice of egotism and desire,
Wow.
and to be adorned with the ornament of equity and justice. They must inquire into matters as fully as possible in order that they may be informed of the real facts and commit the same to writing. Concerning this wronged one, what the newspapers have published has, for the most part, been devoid of truth. Good speech and truthfulness are in loftiest of position and rank, like the sun which has risen from the horizons of the heaven of knowledge. And that's from the tablet of Tarasat.
Well, you know,
So,
listening to, just reading that section and thinking about how quickly information travels today. Let's face it, it's instantaneous. And one thing that has changed since the writing of this book, because of the internet, is now we can all present ourselves as some level of journalist, even if we lack training. And anyone who chooses to can put information out there that is completely false, throw in AI, and that really ups the possibilities of completely misrepresenting or even disregarding truth. And so to read this, and think of it in the context of the importance of education, character training, education, and truthfulness regarding the dissemination of information to the masses, mass communication. It all comes together and emphasizes the importance of having those spiritual qualities that should be the foundation that undergirds society. And we are in the middle of a time, not that it began now, but we're in the middle of a time of seeing what can happen when those principles are ignored by too many people, by too many members of the masses who have the technological wherewithal to just disseminate whatever
and
they want.
we are in an age where determining what is truth becomes more and more difficult
Yes.
because of the technology.
Yes.
So it's we have to be very careful about what we take in as truth or what we discern as truth,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
because it may in fact not be. It may be the exact opposite.
Exactly.
So, all right. So we've reached that stage where we'd like for anyone who would like to share a prayer or a song to join us. Do we have, is Andy with us today?
Yes.
I guess not.
Yes, I am.
So, if we
Yes,
have
I am.
someone that would like
Can
to
you hear
share a
me?
prayer or a song.
Anyone would
Can you hear me?
share a prayer or reading of your choosing.
Hello?
We usually start with what we call our Andy Murphy moment.
Yeah, but I'm here. Hey, hello.
He's not with us today. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Oh.
Need to turn up your audio. Andy Murphy's trying to get a hold of you.
So even anyone here that's with us today, right here in this room, if you would like to share a prayer or a reading of your choosing, this is the time.
Hello.
we running
Just,
short on time?
just close. We're
Yeah,
close.
Tony, can you hear us?
Perhaps. You know what? There is a prayer that I do want to share for nearness to God. He is the compassionate, the all bountiful. O God, my God, thou seest me, thou knowest me. Thou art my haven and my refuge. None have I sought, nor any will I seek, save thee. No path have I trodden, nor any will I tread, but the path of thy love. In the darksome night of despair my eye turneth expectant, and full of hope to the morn of thy boundless favor. And at the hour of dawn my drooping soul is refreshed and strengthened in remembrance of thy beauty and perfection. He whom the grace of thy mercy aideth, though he be but a drop, shall become the boundless ocean. And the merest atom which the outpouring of thy loving kindness assisteth shall shine even as the radiant star. Shelter under thy protection, O thou Spirit of purity, thou who art the all-bountiful provider, this enthralled and kindled servant of thine. Aid him in this world of being to remain steadfast and firm in thy love, and grant that this broken-winged bird attain a refuge and shelter in thy divine nest that abideth upon the celestial tree. And this is a prayer by Abdul Baha. And so it's at this time that we always like to point out that this is not just, a couple of guys who decided to teach, although, as expressed in the song we sang, that's what we're all supposed to be doing, making mention of God. But yeah, this is a community effort, bringing together people from multiple communities, all for, to create this teaching program. And we always like to especially thank the Clearwater Baha'is.org, because the Clearwater community allows us to stream through their website. And wait a minute, we have someone here in our in the live audience that Lauren, you'd like to share. You don't have to, but you can.
Can you hear me? Okay, now I can't hear you.
Yes. Seeing with God's eye. Seeing with God's eye. Ah.
Okay.
Yes. Let's see. Yeah. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you. But yeah, putting aside, as you pointed out, our own biases and prejudices, and actually see the truth, seeing with God's eye, hearing with God's ear. So thank you. Thank you. And as we were pointing out, it's again multiple community effort. There may be some people out there that want to learn more about the Baha'i faith.
And
What
if
should
they
they do?
and if they do, there are several websites that you can go to gain information about the faith. And those websites are www.baha'i.org, www.baha'i.us, www.baha'iteachings.org. And if you happen to be in the Tampa Bay or Clearwater area, you can always go to the Clearwater Baha'i website at www.clearwaterbaha'is.org.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Pete. That was Pete's arm for the folks in the Facebook stream. So, want to give credit for arms. Arabic 44 hidden word. Arabic 44 hidden word. For anyone who is not familiar with the hidden words, it is a wonderful, very small book. It is a collection of verses revealed by Baha'u'llah. It has been wrapped in brevity, as it says. Again, spiritual lessons, all in very, very brief verses. And I encourage anyone to either, buy the book if you have access. In fact, we all have access. Or you could go to one of those websites and actually read them completely for free. 100% free.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah.
So we have reached that stage in our program where I always like to tell people, if you happen to be someone who is loved, you are truly, truly, truly blessed. And the one thing that you can do to improve not just your world, but the world all around you, that won't cost you any money. It's free. And I guarantee you that if you just try it, just even a little bit, that the world we live in will become a better place. And not only will you be blessed, but the world will be blessed. So I only ask you to do one thing, and that is share the love. Thank you all for joining us today.
O people of justice, be as brilliant as the light, and as splendid as the fire that blazed in the burning bush. The brightness of the fire of your love will no doubt fuse and unify the contending peoples and kindreds of the earth. Whilst the fierceness of the flame of enmity and hatred cannot but result in strife and ruin, we beseech God that he may shield his creatures from the evil designs of his enemies. He verily hath power over all things. Let your vision be world embracing. Let your vision be world embracing. Let your vision be world embracing. Watch over yourselves, for the evil one is lying in wait, ready to entrap you. Gird yourselves against his wicked devices, and led by the light of the name of the all-seeing God, make your escape from the darkness that surrounded you. Let your vision be world embracing, rather than confining to your own self. These are the words of Baha'u'llah. Be world embracing. a good day, folks. Take
Thank
care.
you all for joining us. Aloha pa.
Aloha pa.
Hey.